Hi, this is a training video for your first Work Meets Faith small group. Can you test yourself? Can you memorize the 3 S's? What are they? Self, story, and satisfy. Can I hear it from you?
Self, story, and satisfy.
After you have memorized the 3 S's, what are they?
Self, story, satisfy.
Can you fill in the red blanks to pass the 3 S's test? The first one, self. Can you focus on self-change, not changing another? So you would fill in self
change,
not
changing another.
Very good. Think of a God concern or at work that you are facing now. Can you phrase the concern in terms of you're wondering how to do the right thing in the eyes of God?
So it has to be something that I'm working on right now or a problem I have right now?
Yes, a concern of yours doing some kind of work. The work is broadly defined and could be something that you are facing in your life now. Can you share a concern like that?
I have to think of something. I think I'll have to think of something.
Okay. So when you think of your concern, it could have to do with the secular side of things, like making more money or something like that, but when it's on the God side of your concern, the God side of the concern is, okay, so I make a given amount of money, take it from there, and how do I change myself? What does God have in mind for me? Does He have in mind for me to go to school, get more education? Does He have in mind for me to stay with what I have? And you take others as a given, as if they will not change. We are only about changing ourselves, never about changing another. So, for the first one, the blanks are self for self. What are the blanks?
Change, not changing another.
Very good. Self-change, not changing another. The next one is story. The SMART process uses relevant resolution storytelling, not advice. So you would fill in the blanks under story as
relevant resolution storytelling, not advice.
Advice. Very good. When a focus person shares a concern at work, try to think of a relevant resolution story. Telling a relevant resolution story shows that the focus person is not alone. So, in my story where I was talking about having to make more money, wondering if I should go back to school, do you have a relevant resolution story?
Well, it's not exactly the same problem, the same story as the focus person told, but it's similar.
Good. Yeah, you can use a similar story. A similar story, as long as it's a resolution story that actually accomplishes it. Okay,
so it's the way that I resolved my problem.
Yes. Yes, yes, on the God side of it. Like for example, you may be a very frugal person. And how did that come about? Can you share that with us?
Share a resolution story about
that? I gave the example of having to make more money, and one of the solutions is to spend less. So, I know you're a very frugal person, so how'd you come across to be that way? Do you think of yourself that way?
It's the way I was raised.
Okay. All right. So you live within your means. So that would be, so if she gave the example of her mother living within her means, and then she learned to do that herself, that could be a relevant resolution story. And it might be something like, and you know what? It's worked out fine.
But that resolution story doesn't have anything to do with God.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what God has in mind for you. Well, in a sense, doesn't it have like acceptance? You know, isn't sometimes God wants us to be in the place where we're at, so we accept what we have?
I suppose.
So what do we have for number 2 again? Story. What kind of a story?
Relevant resolution storytelling, not advice.
Okay, very good. And our final one is satisfy. Stories coming to God satisfy innate psychological needs put into us by our Creator and are not ordinary conversation. Such stories bring extreme value to others. So what's our fill-ins for satisfy?
Satisfy innate psychological needs, not conversation, ordinary conversation.
Not ordinary conversation. Very good. So if you can learn the 3 S's, pass the test, and then put it into practice in small group, you'll know the small group process where work meets faith.